I'm thinking about the Barnetts. When you first went there, were you happy?
I was.
Were they happy with you?
Yes.
Did you feel loved there?
I did.
Feel like you belonged?
Yes, I actually thought I had found the right family after bouncing around from all the families. I thought I had found the right family for me.
So this was your home?
Yes.
They accepted you?
Yes. The first 3 months,
You felt
yes.
safe there?
Yes.
What was your first clue that it was heading down a bad road?
It was after my surgery when she started questioning about my age. And then, everything started happening after that one moment.
Okay. All right, Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, so this one, it starts to get interesting because she's answering the questions like I would expect a prisoner of war to answer. If I ask you a leading question, she gives me a quick yes or no answer with quick closed lips, but her chin is up more than usual here. So maybe it's defiance. We don't know that for sure, but she's changed her style of answering very much. She's not giving you a response that's a narrative. We can't read minds. This could be in response to how she's been dealt with in her past. If you think about when you're dealing with a child and you start to put pressure on them, they go, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, because children are smart enough to know that if they give you more information, they're likely to get in trouble. Now, that could also mean that she's calculating and trying not to give you more information to keep her out of trouble for some reason. But if you just pay attention to it, she's pretty consistent with all of that until you get to the first clue, it was a bad road. And she drops down to emotional eye accessing. And if you want to know what we mean by emotional eye accessing, we mean they look down into their right. For a minute, if you think about your favorite pet, whether that was a monkey, alligator, a chicken, whatever, and you look down into your right as you're thinking that animal, you'll have that emotional response. That's what we're looking for. And she does. That's a good indicator. I know somebody whose emotional responses are as muted as this person, and he was raised by a mother who tried to commit suicide with him in the car and those kinds of things, and it had an impact on him. So he was very contained as a result. So just looking at that makes it very tough for us to look at the same thing. But in many cases, all that stuff that we start with is just the beginning, and then we just keep piling all this stuff on to protect ourselves. I can't speak to what this is, but remember, this is about the organism, and the organism is going to do what made the organism successful through that chain of events that got her here. Chase, what do you got?
Yeah, her answers about this family are just like you were saying, Greg, immediate, short, and it sounds almost rehearsed. And I think the anxiety is way up here. And when Phil says, what was your first clue that it was leading down a bad road? She says, it was after my surgery when she started questioning about my age. So there's no detail there. And she uses a fragment of a sentence to describe the way things were going, the hint that she got. And there's no confusion or emotion about being questioned about her age, which is strange. And there's no indication she was surprised by this at all. And there's no emotion present here, hardly at all. And she uses the word everything and moment, those two words, to describe what would be severely traumatic, emotional, and frightening, I would imagine, for a girl who was especially under 10 years old at the time. So what you're seeing here might be something called simulated adjustment. And in a clinical context where people pretend to adjust to situations or an event in a way that's not authentic, this can be detected by looking for patterns that don't match up with normal behavior, like overly enthusiastic reactions or lack of genuine emotional responses to significant events or the recall of those events. That was a long one. Scott?
All right. Mine won't be as long. Mine will all be short today. Like we've all said so far, everything changes when we get to the part about the surgery. And if she was a con in this, she would lay a little bit more at this right here. She would combine the two of trying to get that the number one thing we talked about, which was the charm and charisma thing, and then trying to manipulate those emotions in there. But she can do it there toward the end. But I think if she was a con, she's being very careful about this. Not once has she ever said, it's hard because I got to do this, or it's hard because I'm small. It's hard because she hasn't done that. And if she is a con, it's brilliant that she's not doing that. She'd have to be pretty smart, because that would be the first thing you'd see. And you'd lay that out and go, look at me, I'm so small. and I have all these problems. And so obviously you feel sorry for me, but she's not. But if she was a con, she's not going down that road. So everything changes there at the end. And she even brings the into a singularity the discussion that happened after the surgery. She talks about how it was that one thing that happened. How did she word that? I can't remember what she said. It was after that one. Maybe she says after that one thing. Listen to it and see what you think, or see what you hear at the end. But she brings it down to one single little point. So that makes me think that's the only thing that happened. I don't think there was a lot of discussion about different things. It was that one little thing about her age. I think it was all brought down to that one part there. All right, Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, so it is that element of the age. This is the big issue. This is why it's such an exciting story. This is why it's not only a cultural story, it's a human story. Look, if you're the kind of family that likes to look after people, and you see somebody who doesn't have a home and doesn't want to look and doesn't have anybody to look after them, it shouldn't really matter what age they are. It's just like, come all comers, no matter what age, we're here to help you. We'll bring you in. We will give you a home. But the age is an issue. And the reason on a human level, the age is an issue is that we have an instinctual response. Most of us have an instinctual response to children who are not cared for. Look, we've all passed homeless people on the streets. Have you passed a homeless child, a child on their own who is clearly, has and just gone, well, that's somebody else's problem? My guess is you've taken a second look if that's ever happened with you. If you've even seen that in the first place, because when it comes to children, we tend to rush in there, hopefully, and look after them. So we have an innate response to looking after the motherless child, the stateless infant, essentially. So we've got a bit of a social rule, which is you don't pretend to be a child in that situation, because pretending to be a child would be a cheap signal. You would be actioning an instinct of many mothers and fathers out there to look after you. So that's the big problem. It triggers our instincts. And at the same time, why is it such an interesting story? It has all the things of an Eastern European folk tale. You've got small people doing potentially really bad stuff, replacing other children. You've got the cuckoo child, essentially, which is the child that gets left in another home and then gets looked after as their own. We see this in nature all the time. You've even got somebody from an Eastern European country, so it has that weird sense of, but we don't know where they've come from, and it's very dark and mysterious over there. Lots of pine forests that you can't quite see what's happening in the trees. So all of this to say, and we've got a potential curious case of Benjamin Button, and it strikes me, I've not seen the series, but the series about this at the moment starts with the curious case of. And so what they're doing, Benjamin Button, the story is somebody who is a child, but looks old, ages quickly, but I think it's called progeria or something like that. I don't think she has that. But ultimately, what they're suggesting is there is such an anomaly happening here that many of the bets are off as to what is normal behavior, and therefore we're going to have people who are going to react in all kinds of extreme ways to this, including us as an audience. And that's why it's such an extraordinary story, because we will have big reactions to this, whether we like it or not. It's structured in that way. So just a little cultural human warning about how we're going to handle this, I think, as human beings.
One of those tape replays.
I'm thinking about the Barnetts. When you first went there, were you happy?
I was.
Were they happy with you?
Yes,
Did you feel loved there?
I did.
Feel like you belonged?
Yes, I actually thought I had found the right family after bouncing around from all the families. I thought I had found the right family for me.
So this was your home?
Yes.
They accepted you?
Yes. The first 3 months.
You felt
yes.
safe there?
Yes.
What was your first clue that it was heading down a bad road?
It was after my surgery when she started questioning about my age. And then Like, everything started happening after that one moment.
If you like this video, get the full body language breakdown and analysis on our main channel by clicking this video right here.